A useful accessory with any action camera is an external remote. The previous GPS action remote was great, helping to pull in GPS data for creating overlays on your footage, although Insta360 have taken it all the way with their newest solution, conveniently named the GPS Preview Remote. Compatible with Insta360's newest cameras, the Ace and the Ace Pro, with compatibility for other models possibly in the works too, we have a pretty well-sized unit here. Reminds me of the larger sized Apple Watch in fact, albeit a little thicker of course, with a primarily plastic construction and that toughened glass display up top. We have a pretty robust unit here, and to be fair I wouldn't be too concerned with the odd drop here and there. Anyways, the unit itself is on the face of it rather simple, a sleek black with power and shutter buttons across the top and a small built-in speaker on the side. Otherwise, all interactivity is done via the well-sized touch-sensitive screen on the front. Considering the built-in GPS chipset, as well as Bluetooth 5, which handles connectivity to the action camera itself, the unit still boasts an impressive 6 hours of usage time on a full charge when used with the live preview, or a super impressive 60 hours while on standby. This is thanks to a built-in 950mAh battery, so life will vary according to your own usage style, but should get you through a lengthy shooting session. When it comes to charging then, this is done via a proprietary connector on the bottom side of the device, coupled with a charging cradle that's included in the package. Again, mainly plastic in construction, this seems to be the only way you can charge up the Preview Remote, and comes complete with a standard USB connector on the opposite end. I would have expected USB-C in this day and age to be fair, but even so, with the cradle connected to a power source, it's a matter of simply dropping the remote down on top, where a magnetic attachment is used to line up and holds the pins in the correct place for charging to begin. It works pretty well too, with the remote lining up perfectly every time. It does mean there are no ports on the actual unit, so no rubber flaps to fumble about with, creating a completely sealed design and meaning the unit is IP68 water resistant up to 1.5 meters for 30 minutes. Considering the Bluetooth connection wouldn't work well underwater anyways, this isn't really something to be used while diving, more for the odd splash around the pool. But even then we have these exposed connectors. Insta360's solution is to include some disposable stickers to cover the back of the remote and protect the exposed metal parts from water. A bit of a tacked-on afterthought really, but should do the job just fine. When it comes to mounting this thing, that's done with the straps provided within the package, complete with this silicone case. The remote itself pushes in pretty easily and stays in place pretty well, no issues there, maintaining full access to the screen and the accompanying buttons. So while you are limited to using these to mount the device, well at least until some third-party mounts start flooding the market, there are two sizes included within the package, with the larger of the two intended for wrist mounting, and the smaller for easy attachment to handlebars, selfie poles, and anything similar. So while not as flexible enough to mount anywhere, the two provided options seem to cover most instances where you'd want to use the remote anyways, and they work pretty well. That aside, using the system is relatively straightforward. A long press on the power button and the screen springs to life, taking us through the initial language selection menu and presenting the main camera connection prompt. From here, it's a matter of powering up your camera and navigating into the connectivity menu, selecting the GPS Preview Remote, after which the units will seamlessly pair together, and now present us with that live preview. Now bear in mind this is a real-time image transfer using the Bluetooth 5 standard, and there's really very little lag here. There is some, but we're talking milliseconds rather than seconds. It actually works really well, and it's a nice, reasonably sharp, higher resolution screen at that. Now bear in mind that for the best experience, the optimal range for live preview is up to 8 meters, so good for instances where you may have the camera chest mounted and can't see the preview, or literally for times when the camera is mounted just out of reach. Otherwise, remote control with no preview is operational at up to 20 meters in an open environment. Preview aside, we find some basic information across the top and bottom edges, namely camera battery and memory status, as well as the current capture settings. Tap on the battery icon and you can toggle between the camera and remote battery status, a nice little touch. Similarly, we have some on-screen icons for quick access to adjusting the field of view, as well as controlling that 2x zoom, just like we have on the camera screen itself. Otherwise, by swiping left or right, we have the ability to switch between the different available shooting modes. And once in a desired mode, tap on the capture settings or swipe up from the bottom in order to make changes, which are all identical to the settings available on camera, even down to the layout itself, making it all nice and easy. Back on the preview page, swipe right to left, and again, just like on the main camera, we can adjust shooting parameters for the currently active mode. All very intuitive and nice and easy to adjust. Of course, starting and stopping capture can be controlled via the shutter button on the top of the device, all pretty instantaneous, no real issues there at all. Notice how you even maintain the ability to pause and resume recording too. Otherwise, for times between capturing footage, swipe down to reveal a clock display. You can even tap and hold, just like an Apple Watch, and choose from one of the 3 built-in themes. Anyways, another swipe reveals a dashboard screen where we can start a timer and display speed information, and then across again to a built-in compass, and finally onto the remote settings, where we can change basic options such as switching the camera on alongside the remote, changing the remote's orientation so you can mount in whichever direction you wish, as well as a few other basic settings. Finally, back at the main clock screen, tap on the camera icon at the bottom to go back into the live preview screen. It's all pretty easy to navigate and use, and once familiar, you'll find settings in a pinch. Really impressive. Of course, there's one more feature with this remote, and it's a bit of a biggie. Built-in GPS, with the satellite connectivity displayed via the icon next to the battery indicator across the top of the preview screen. Of course, you'll want to be outside to establish a good connection, but once connected, you're good to go. And it works perfectly well. With the GPS information being captured alongside video, you'll have the option to create and add different gauges and information overlays directly onto the video, creating more immersive and informative content. I'll certainly be using this more in future. Finally, keep the power button pressed to switch off either device, or both. Nice and easy. All in all then, Insta360 are really pushing the bar here. They've created something that their rivals, namely DJI and GoPro, haven't been able to achieve yet, and they've cracked it. The preview remote not only connects and controls all of the main camera controls, you get the live preview itself, and it works magically well. If you're lucky enough to own multiple cameras, you can even connect and control up to 4 units from the one remote, only at a basic start and stop capture level mind, not with a preview or the ability to change settings, but even so, for simultaneous synchronization of recording, it's a handy feature. I'd like to see more mounting options though, and the sticker on the rear for use in wet conditions feels like a bit of a tacked-on afterthought. But that aside, this thing is great. It works reliably, it's easy to connect and control, and provides the ability to add GPS data and overlays. With compatibility for other cameras in the range possibly coming soon, for now, if you have an Ace or an Ace Pro, the Insta360 GPS Preview Remote is a must-have accessory.